Hi, I hope all is well with you and that you're staying safe. This week, we begin Sefer Vayikra, dealing with Karbanos and the Avoda in the Beis HaMikdash. We bring Karbanos usually for two reasons. One is to atone for something that we've done wrong, or one is to show gratitude to the Ribbono Shel Olam for all the chasadim that he performs for us. But in both cases, regarding all the korbanos, they're all referred to as korbanos. And Chazal teach us they come from the shoresh kuf resh vez, which means to become close. The purpose of our bringing korbanos is to come close to the Ribbono Shel Olam. In fact, the purpose of everything that we do, especially the mitzvos, are there to be able to have us become closer to the Ribbono Shel Olam. The sacrifices that we make in order to be able to fulfill the Taryag mitzvos and all the mitzvos d'Rabbanan, those sacrifices help us become closer to the Ribbono Shel Olam by showing him the dedication that we have towards everything that he has commanded us to do. And that brings me to a subject that is called a mace mitzvah. Now, in general, a mace mitzvah, which I'm not going to get into, but refer to finding a dead body outside of the city limits. But Chazal use it for another purpose. And they say that there are certain mitzvos that unfortunately have been forgotten or ignored by too many individuals. And they call it a mace mitzvah. An example of that, perhaps for too many people during the winter months, would be shalashidus, eating a third meal, feeling that they just couldn't eat anything else after lunch. And they ignore the fact that not only is a mitzvah, but it's a chiyuv to have shalashudis every Shabbos, regardless of whether it's summer or whether it's winter. As Pesach gets rapidly closer, I'd like to mention another mace mitzvah that unfortunately has been ignored for too long, and that is the halachot of Chol HaMoed. Now, unfortunately, for those of us who grew up in America, Chol HaMoed was really looked at as a weekday that just happened to have come out during the Moed. We never looked at it as a Moed that happens to have a weekday element to it. But the emphasis was more on the Chol rather than on the Moed. And perhaps through no fault of our own, being in a situation that we had parents who were going to work, or we had older siblings who were still going to school, because in Chutz La'aretz, unfortunately, that's the situation. So we never really were sensitized to the fact that Chol HaMoed is a very, very integral part of the Chag. In fact, Chazal teach us that a person who desecrates Chol HaMoed, ein lo chelik chas v'shalom l'olam haba. Chol HaMoed is a very, very important mitzvah. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go through all of Hilchos Chol HaMoed right now, but let me just mention a couple of things that perhaps we're ignorant of. Number one, laundry. It's usher to do laundry on Chol HaMoed. One may do laundry for little children since they dirty their clothing, but if a person has nothing to wear, it's best to buy clothing rather than to do laundry. Another halacha that unfortunately is ignored, and that is going shopping during Chol HaMoed. A lot of people, since they have time on their hands, want to go shopping. They go to the malls and see whatever interests them, and they purchase them. One is not allowed to do that on Chol HaMoed. There are certain heterim if there are major sales going on, or if a person lives out of town and doesn't usually have the opportunity to buy certain things, and they're only in town, quote unquote, for Chol HaMoed, there are certain heterim. But in general, those of us who live in town, just to go shopping for the sake of shopping is usur. It's not that it's not nice, it's not allowed. And it's something that unfortunately we're not sensitized to, and it's something that we really should learn more about and become sensitive to it. Now, I know I'm talking about something that's very radical. for those of us who really have never thought that much about really what Chol HaMoed is about. So I therefore would like to recommend one of a number of svarim that are very easy to go through and to sensitize oneself to Chol HaMoed. The classic one that was written many, many years ago is on Chol HaMoed. You'll find this in any bookstore. There's another one that came out a few years ago on Yom Tov and on Chol HaMoed. And perhaps the one that I would recommend the most as the simplest one to go through, just in question answer form, is this guidelines book. And there are guideline books on numerous subjects, which are really excellent, that one can go through very quickly to see what one is allowed to do on Chol HaMoed and what is not allowed to do on Chol HaMoed. Chol HaMoed is an integral part of the Chag. It's given to us by the Ribono Shel Olam. It's not the Rabbanon, it's all the Oraisa. It's part of the Chag. And the purpose of it is to give us time to learn, to spend time with our families, to relax, and to enjoy the Chag. It says, V'samachta b'chagecha. Person is supposed to enjoy themselves during the Chag. It applies to the meals that we have, to the dress that we wear during Chol HaMoed. It's not a weekday. It's part of the Chag. I highly recommend that we all sensitize ourselves a lot better to what Chol HaMoed is about and how the Ribono Shel Olam wants us to observe those very, very important days. And Chazal teach us that a person who takes upon themselves a meis mitzvah that unfortunately is ignored by too many other people, the schar is manifold in terms of the way the Ribono Shel Olam looks at the dedication of that individual who has taken upon this very, very important mitzvah. So mitzvah Hashem, if we strive to sensitize ourselves to observe it a lot better than we've done in the past, then mitzvah Hashem will reap the reward. The Ribono Shel Olam will be proud of us, and hopefully, mitzvah Hashem, they'll bring in this Zman Geula, they'll bring the Geula from Her V'Yameinu. Have a wonderful day, a Shabbat Shalom, and a Chag Sameach.